Here we are again. I'm Christine McKellar, host of That's So Vegas with Rick Radcliffe, who's the most impressive computer tech nerd, geek, whatever you want to call you. We've had some great stories here, but you do have one that you did want to share, and we do want to talk a little bit about the gaming industry again because you've been involved with the programming there. But you said one of your first jobs, you had a great story to share about how.
Oh, boy, yeah. That was back at FlashTax, where what we call a release bug. It only shows up when you're doing that final build to put them on the diskettes. Yeah, you can tell that was an ancient comment, but back when we had
Floppy
diskettes,
disk?
yeah, floppy disk, the
Dated
3.5-inch floppy disks.
I remember
But yeah, when we went to build the release build, all of a sudden the software kept crashing. As soon as we started it up, it crashed, and we were literally shipping the next morning. And,
Oh, no.
And we were making all the discs in-house. We would label them. I mean, I was actually in there labeling discs, doing copies.
Right, we all worked.
And I stayed there pretty late that night. I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning when I actually found the problem, where it was a library that we were using, a Beetrieve record manager, that I had debugged it. There was this is about as tech as I'll get for you, a printf statement where I was generating a string based on some format characters, and the end of the string is marked with a 0,
Okay.
hex 0, and all of a sudden I noticed, boom, that it had changed, and that's a static area of memory. Static by meaning it doesn't change.
Right.
So I thought that was strange, and it was right as I was issuing a Beetrieve command. And so, I mean, I literally stood up at my desk. I found it.
Really?
And-
whoa, that
and,
must have been a golden
We
moment.
went
like-
on the BBS, I think it was BBS, the bulletin board back in the day. This is before you had the internet.
Uh-huh.
And looked on Beetrieve's website, and 125 bugs down the list, there was a service pack already out there for it.
Wow.
That says, and when your memory becomes so large, 2 bytes of memory get blown out, and that's what happened. And I proved it by making a single program that did nothing but make a Beetrieve statement call, and then I had a static area of memory that just had A's in it, the letter A all the way through it. Issued the Beetrieve command, and boom, the 2 areas of memory were changed.
Amazing.
So
Just one
we
little
got the patch in the morning.
thing.
We rebuilt
Wow.
software, and
Saved the day.
software went out the same day.
That is amazing. One little item like that. So even a programmer.
I got to tell you, when I solved that problem,
Uh-huh.
I literally stood up in the air and felt like I had an S on my chest. I thought, if I can find something like this, I can figure out anything.
That's amazing. I know, because people like me, I am so intimidated by HTML and code and all that, because in my what do you call it, my dashboard, I have to deal with stuff like that. It just scares the living heck out of me, because just one keystroke wrong or something, you can change the
HTML is
you
a
could become
very
Skynet.
archaic language.
What are you
Well,
using
no, I
now?
wouldn't say archaic. That's the wrong word.
What do you
It's a
use
very syntax-heavy language. It's a hypertext markup language is what it stands for, and it's a generic platform-independent language.
Okay,
So that, in other words, it's made for Windows and Linux, and it works on different operating systems.
So basically what you're saying right here, which is kind of what I wanted to hear, that we lay people or non-geeks or whatever shouldn't be so afraid of what's behind our
Not
screen.
really, especially
because
nowadays.
it's a language. It's something we could
Yeah,
learn. It's
nowadays
like learning
there's so many tools out there for
Right.
generating web pages
Okay.
that a layman like you or me making
You're
a web
not
page.
a layman.
Yeah, I'm no web page expert,
You're
but
just a genius.
I wouldn't. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really wouldn't be working on writing HTML. I'd be using a software package that lets you design the pages
Which
and would
reminds
generate
me,
the HTML.
yeah, well, there's so much, again, and even now, like when you go to get Office Windows, now they're leasing it instead of letting you buy it. I mean, there's clever stuff going on out there.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
think
probably gonna
Microsoft's
be-
just trying to figure out different ways to make
Right.
money
And
because
avoid the-
Office is very expensive.
Uh-huh.
And if you really want to get the full package of Office, which
I wouldn't
is
mind if I
really
could
what
just
you
use
want.
it intermittently, because I'm
Right.
really not a graphic designer. minor, but sometimes I need that. Again, these segments are flying by so fast, and people don't go away because, as always, at the last bottom of the hour, I'm going to shout out a couple of cool things that are going on in Vegas this week. But you can always, if you miss that or I stutter or mispronounce something, you can always find weekly updates on my VegasOnlyEntertainment.com page under Vegas VIPs. Before I tell you a little bit what's been going on last week and coming up, I find it so interesting that you have come here and your work, and also you can help anybody out there. Your phone number, if they need help building their own sites, or you've even helped people make their businesses more efficient by, like you said, you're unique, that you go and actually sit with the person, get to know their business.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Not everybody is the same in my business.
That appeals to your left and right brain.
I like to interface with people and
So if you have problems,
listen to them. Tell me how you do your
Now,
tell me how you what do you do at your business. Let me watch you conduct your business, and then tell me what your problems are, and then I'll come to you and tell you, here's some software that works around your business model and solves your problem. Or I could suggest some things.
Custom. Oh, that's
and
amazing.
generally that's what I do, is write custom software.
And did you find, again, because we kind of touched on it briefly, that coming into the gaming industry, because I was going, whoa, that's got to have some kind of protective, aren't they kind of real picky? Wasn't that?
There's the gaming control board, which basically monitors everything that the gaming business does. It's a very heavily regulated
so
business.
Even to work on it, they scrutinize you.
Oh there's background checks. To do what I do, you have to have a certain gaming card. You have to go get fingerprinted and they check your background and all that stuff.
So we know that you don't have a checkered background because you've worked on that. That's a good thing to know. They've already qualified
They haven't figured out the county you worked in and lived in,
And you had mentioned, too, that the airlines are just as picky. I imagine with TSA, and that could just be open.
It's hard to say who's more picky than... I think one concentrates more on the others. The airline business is more about safety, whereas the gaming business is more about cheating and stuff like that. There was a time when slot machines were all mechanical, and then they started to become electronic with computer boards, and they didn't have a gaming control board monitoring software. And the first few versions out there, there was a pretty famous case of a guy who programmed a slot machine in a particular venue here in town. I don't know which one it was, and I don't think I'd want to mention it.
No, probably not.
But where you put so many coins in and pressed certain buttons in a certain sequence, and it would hit. It would make a win.
That's crazy.
I think he would have gotten away with it if he hadn't shot his mouth off.
Had to brag about it, right?
Yeah, isn't that what always gets you busted when you're being a criminal?
Well, we're not criminals here, and I'm so glad. I was so happy to have you on the show. This is wonderful because a lot of us have the smoke in our eyes about how intimidating. It's not so intimidating once you talk to somebody like Rick, or if you are being intimidated, call him. He'll unintimidate you.
Computers aren't that hard. Just be nice to a nerd.
Yeah, always.
Have one in your pocket.
We like that. Well, I've got to make a mention. Last week we had a little problem on the show. It was technical, and I was looking forward to attending the X Country at Bally's. It's a new topless venue. There are several sister venues similar to that. Matt and Angela Stabile produce these, and I called it X Western, but there was a lot going on, so I take it back. Well, country western. What can you say? And a new place opened at the Cosmo. It's called The Click. I love it. The Click, a new Click in town, but it's on the ground floor. The ambiance is beautiful. They have a fabulous chef there, Jordan Hoffman. They've got crafted cocktails and everything. And I've always liked the Cosmopolitan. A lot of fundraising stuff coming up. I can see we're not going to have time to touch on all of them, but I do love St. Patrick's or St. Baldrick's, when they cut the hair and they donate it for the kids. And there's a elf or something, leprechaun run coming up where they're going to paint people downtown. If you don't believe me, go to VegasOnlyEntertainment.com under Vegas VIPs.
Only
it's
in
all
Vegas,
there.
huh?
That's so Vegas. See you next week. Bye.